Hey guys, it's Greg Hardy. If you're new to this channel, welcome. As you can see by the title of this video, my intention is to show those of you with a lower income how to budget and build wealth. Now, I truly believe that wealth can be made by anyone. A low income in one state, though, might be vastly different than a low income in another. But the principles that we will cover will work either way. This video will be broken down into two parts. First, we'll start with budgeting, because if you don't have control over your finances, you'll have a hard time building wealth. The second part of the video will be taking that extra money from our budgeting methods and saving and investing it. But before we get started, if you'd like to see more videos like this, please hit that like button. It lets me know that the content I'm providing to you is relevant and that you'd like to see more of it. And after doing that, feel free to subscribe too. Thank you. Budgeting is important, but probably more so in those of you with a lower income where every penny matters. Now, I'm not going to just sit here and say go and find a job that pays more, because that's not always an option. So what we are going to do is maximize what you do have. There are several budgeting methods out there, but I believe it's not a one-size-fits-all method. So let's forget thriving at the moment and just focus on surviving. No matter how much or how little money you make, there are some things that you can do to gain more control over your money. So let's get started. In order to make an effective budget, we have to start by listing your income. That's not just money earned from your job, but should include any part-time work, side hustles, child support, disability, Social Security, anything that brings money into your checking account. If your income is commission-based or irregular, then use your lowest month's income. The reason being, we can always go up from there. If you can make it by on the lowest month, then the months that you earn more money should be even better. We will break this down into two categories, being essential and non-essential. Essentials are the things that you have to get by every month. Non-essentials are things that are bonus items, like going out to eat or the movies, buying a new outfit at the store, several streaming services, or upgrading your cell phone. We will start first with the essentials. Dave Ramsey coined the term the four walls, which include food, utilities, housing, and transportation. Food is groceries only, not eating out, as that is a non-essential expense. Always prioritize your essentials over everything else, as these can affect your housing situation and your overall quality of life. I would also add medical expenses into this category, especially if you have a severe medical condition or a mental health issue. Also, prioritize medical appointments, medication, and treatment. You won't be able to take care of your family if you are sick. List out what each of these expenses are each month. You can take an average of the past 3 months of expenses that fluctuate. Simply add the total of the last 3 months and divide by 3. For example, if your utilities were $100, $150, and $150 a month, the total is $400. And divide that by 3, your average would be $133.33 a month. After the four walls are covered, be sure to list things like your child care, insurance, debt payments, and even miscellaneous expenses into your budget to cover all of those random expenses. Now that you've detailed what your income and expenses are, let's subtract the expenses from the income and see what happens. Ideally, you'll want a number higher than 0. However, if you get a negative number, there's no shame. This is why you're doing a budget, to stop the overspending before it happens. If you wound up in the negative, let's circle back to the non-essential items that you listed in the previous step. This is where you should look to reduce your spending and cut expenses. Reducing your spending and cutting expenses aren't the same thing. Spending is the money that you have and that you are voluntarily parting with. Expenses is the money that's already been spent or has to be spent to live day to day. It's time to make some sacrifices. While it might sting a little to cut these items out, your written budget shows you that there isn't room for them in there. Some things you can do to reduce spending is to take your lunch to work, meal plan, clip coupons for the grocery, limit takeout coffee runs. Cutting expenses can be eliminating an extra streaming service, reducing the amount of water and electricity used at home, or changing the plan on your cell phone. By being diligent on spending and expense cutting, you'll be able to find more money than you'd expect. Let's lay out a couple of the more popular budgeting methods and see how they'll fit in your life. Let's start with the 50-30-20 budget. The 50 means that 50% of your net income, which is your after-tax take-home pay, should go to your essentials like housing, child care, groceries, and utilities. 30% should go to your non-essentials like entertainment, eating out, and vacations. And 20% should go to your savings like an emergency fund, retirement, and debt repayment. The 50-30-20 budget is a pretty straightforward budget, but may not work well in cities where housing costs are high, because it may be a challenge to have all essentials covered in the 50% portion if rent payments are above average. You may have to pull from the 30% wants category, but I would avoid it at all costs, pulling from the 20% savings and investing portion. This budget works well if you can keep your housing cost at 30% or less, and that gives you the remaining 20% of that 50% for your essentials. For those of you that are familiar with Dave Ramsey, you'll know that his favorite budgeting method is the zero-based budget. In a zero-based budget, every single dollar of your income is assigned to a specific expense, leaving you with a balance of zero. The goal is when you subtract your expenses from your income, it should equal zero. This doesn't mean that you don't have any money left over at the end of the month. It just means that you've assigned every dollar you've earned a home. This is a working budget, meaning you need to do it at the beginning of each month. After you've cut spending and expenses and found some extra money, we need to find a home for it. If you're able to follow the 50-30-20 budget, there's 20% left for savings. The zero-based budget savings amount will be different based on your situation. Even if there's $50 left at the end of the month, let's put it to good use. Debt will not only destroy your wealth, but your budget too, especially if things are tight. If you have debt, currently work diligently to pay that off. I'm talking about car loans, credit cards, student and personal loans, not a mortgage. Before you start to tackle paying off debt, it's imperative that you scrap and save $1,000 for a starter emergency fund. This is a starter fund, not the fully funded one. Without this small safety net, any unforeseen expense can eliminate any progress that you've made to reducing your debt. I understand money may be tight, but you need a financial cushion. A starter emergency fund will keep you from busting your budget when life happens, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. If you have debts, work to pay off the smallest one first and make only the minimum payments on all remaining debts. This is called the debt snowball. Make the minimum payments on time to avoid the extra late fees. When the smallest debt is paid off, it'll free up the minimum payment in your budget. Then apply that minimum payment to the next smallest debt as well as your extra money to wipe out that payment. The faster you can pay off debt, the more income you'll be able to put elsewhere, like savings and investing. Statistics show that Americans are really bad at saving money. As of December 2023, the average personal savings rate for individuals in the United States was just 3.7%. Every household should prioritize creating an emergency fund in case of a job loss, an unexpected medical expense, or any other unforeseen expenses like your car needing new tires. Your emergency fund goal should be somewhere between 3 to 12 months worth of living expenses. If an emergency fund is used, your household should replenish it first above other savings goals. I would recommend having all consumer debts paid and a fully funded emergency fund before starting to invest. Once that debt is eliminated, now is when you can start putting money into a retirement plan, such as a 401k at your work or a Roth IRA. A lot of people are afraid to invest their hard-earned money for fear of losing it in a market crash or just no guaranteed returns. No matter the income bracket you're in, investing for retirement needs to be on your radar. I have a video I did recently on how to build wealth from nothing that I encourage you to watch. I'll leave a link in the description below. But for now, I'll touch on a couple of the most common investment options. A 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement account that offers tax benefits and also helps you plan for the future. With a 401k, you, as the employee, sets a percentage of your income to be automatically taken out of each paycheck and invested into your account. Most employers offer some form of a percentage as a match. For example, say your employer offers a dollar-for-dollar match on your contribution amount up to 5%. That means if you contribute 5%, you are getting the benefit of having your contribution amount doubled. Whatever their matching amount is, try to take advantage of it. One thing to note is that the money in a 401k grows tax-free, so you won't owe taxes until you begin making withdrawals in retirement. A Roth IRA is an individual retirement account in which you contribute after-tax dollars. So unlike a 401k where you contribute pre-tax dollars, your contributions and earnings in a Roth IRA can grow tax-free, and you can withdraw them tax-free and penalty-free after age 59 and a half, and once the account has been open for 5 years. Remember that despite your income, you can still have control over your money by creating and sticking to a budget. When you have a lower income, you have less wiggle room in your budget. You need a plan for every dollar. When you get a higher income at some point and find ways to lower your expenses, make sure to adjust your budget accordingly and keep adjusting it monthly. Without budgeting, you may assume you have enough money to splurge. But when you look at your bank account and bills, you realize that money should go towards your rent or utilities. Tracking your spending will uncover some not-so-nice spending habits too. Budgeting involves a change in spending and in behavior. Therefore, only you can decide when you're ready to make that change. Make it a goal to eliminate debt and set aside a portion of every paycheck to go towards your saving and investing goals, which includes building up your emergency fund and retirement. With that said, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you liked this video and that you got something out of it. I encourage you to watch more videos as it relates to budgeting on this channel, and also share with me any successes and challenges you faced as it relates to budgeting in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.